So I was looking at my old videos, kind of looking back at which videos had the most interaction from you guys, and I noticed that it was the how to study for the NCLEX for procrastinators video. This morning I got to thinking back to nursing school and kind of was thinking about what course really stood out for people, really made us suffer. And I got it. It was A&P, because A&P was that course that either made it or broke some people's progression in nursing school. And let me tell you, once a procrastinator, always a procrastinator. So in today's video, I'm gonna show you guys how I passed A&P back when, as a procrastinator who would leave studying till really last minute. Also, if some of you guys are looking for proof, I do have my transcript. So you know what, let me get that. So I'm not gonna show you where it's from. But it looks like in fall 2017, my A&P, I got an A-, that's for A&P 1. A&P 2 in spring of 2018, I got an A-. And then summer of 2019 for Pathophysiology 1, I got an A+. And then for spring 2020 in Pathophysiology 2, I also got an A+. So yeah, I actually would show you guys, but my school name is on this entire transcript. This is the unofficial transcript, that's why. Honestly, I'm giving you guys the answers anyways. So, okay. So now that you guys know that I'm not lying through my teeth, let's get into it. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Judy, if you didn't already know. If you're new here, this is your first time, you end up liking this video, hit that thumbs up button. And if you want to see more videos from me, hit that subscribe button as well, you know? Yep. Like I said, we're talking about A&P, Anatomy Physiology, how to study for that for procrastinators like me. If you're like me, continue watching, okay? My school was kind of known to just have a really tough A&P program. The teachers didn't really set us up for success, although they were extremely intelligent. It just wasn't set up for us to pass, really. To give you kind of an insight, we would start the semester with 32 students, and by finals, we would have 11 students left that are actually passing. So yeah, the difficult thing is, even when some people would pass the course, they still didn't get a high enough grade to actually get into nursing school, right? So that was the threat that was there with this course, taking it at my institution. So a lot of people opted out to take it at other public colleges, public universities, private places, just so that they can get the credit and the equivalent to transfer over to my institution. I'll just quickly tell you guys how my course was actually set up. We'd have our topic of the week, say the respiratory system. We would have that week to study, go through course material, which did not include a lecture taken. We never got a lecture on these before. And then the next week we would come in, we would have a quiz, and then after the quiz, not before the quiz, after the quiz, we would get a lecture on the respiratory system. So we'd be sitting there dang, that answer was wrong. Oh yeah, no. And that's why I would say that this A&P course was definitely more of a self-study type format, even though we didn't pay for it that way. Now, before I get into the specifics, step by step, what I did, I want to tell you what supplies I used. All I used to study was first my laptop, where I had Google Docs so that I would save on any computer that I would work on. I used my university library or the public library's printer. I got dollar store cue cards, a pen, and a textbook. The textbook that we used was some sort of A&P textbook. Honestly, if I find it, I'll put it in here. It'll probably give me PTSD if I saw it right now, so that'll be a later thing. As a procrastinator, I did not have time to color coordinate my notes, highlight it in pretty colors, make pretty diagrams. I did not have time for any of that, okay? It had to be straight to the point, quick and efficient. So we did have that entire week to study, to kind of become masters at that subject that week. So we were actually given a list of stuff to research to be able to figure out everything that we would need to study for the quiz and final and midterm and everything. So actually, before you were allowed to sit down and take the quiz, you had to have passed this in-person lab exam. And honestly, in these lab exams, we got our asses beat. Pardon my language, we got our butts whooped. It wasn't even a quiz. It was literally just grilling and stress and anxiety and people crying left, right, and center. And if you don't pass the lab, then you don't get to take the quiz. So you suck, you know nothing, you fail, you don't get to do anything, you failed that week. Move on to next week. Okay, so first I would go into, let's say week 2, okay? We're going to talk about the endocrine control of the urinary system, regulation of fluid and electrolytes, and regulation of pH. That was my week 2 in A&P, okay? So now that I know my topic, my school did give us the pages where we would have to read and just figure everything out on our own. But also taken, those weren't like 5 to 10 pages. They would be like 60 pages to 100 pages. So while I would be going through the textbook, I would be writing my notes on my Google Docs so that I can access it at whatever library I want to print off at. I would go to the library, get my coins, okay? Usually I would go to the public library. If I was really short on time, then I would go to the school library, but it was more expensive actually. So I would print off all of my notes, literally like this. This is actually for the section that I'm talking about. So always when I print off, it'd be like font 11 or 12. It would be double-sided. I would have the margins as narrow as well to get the most use of the space. These, I think I had money. This was early on and I wasn't even printing double-sided. Like, I don't even know what I was doing, honestly. And taken, my notes would be in crazy terms. Like I would shorten every single word I can to make it concise and still make it readable for myself. Yeah, so I print off everything. So now I have a hard copy, physical copy of everything I just read that I found important on the topic. Now, at this point, we can put the binder away, the textbook, throw it out for the week. I'm not gonna be looking back at those two. Now all I'm using is this print off of all the stuff that I just studied or read in the textbook and from the binder. And when I say the binder, I just mean the guideline that they give you. My school just gave us like literally a guideline, like, hey, read these pages, this is where you would find the most information, and that's what I mean. Not like they're giving me notes or anything. They never gave us notes. Now, because I took away some of the resources, my mind feels a little bit more at ease because I don't know, I feel like it's a mental game. The more resources and things you have in front of you, the more you start to panic and be like, oh my God, I need to do all these things. But no, now all you're seeing is this, right? Now I can go through it and just start highlighting. I didn't highlight anything like crazy. Oftentimes I wouldn't even highlight information. I would just highlight the headers. Like, I feel like this is a good example right here. Isotonic dehydration. I just highlighted the topic and then I started like underlining little things like hemorrhage, losses, diuretics. You know what I mean? Like those are the 3 main words that stick out to me. So when I actually read it, it says fluid/solute loss in proportional amounts, leaving osmolarity normal and no osmotic force. Primarily ECF, extracellular fluid, not disturbing IC water, intracellular water. Causes: hemorrhage, GI losses, and diuretics. Those are the 3 words that I literally underlined. GI losses, hemorrhage, and diuretics. So now I know what the 3 causes are. And to treat it, IV fluids used to replace ECF loss. That's it. So it's a NS or ringers. And that's that, right? And honestly, it was probably a huge 1.5 pages of just isotonic dehydration in my textbook. So I narrowed it down to something very simple. A proper definition that I can understand, causes, and quick treatments. Now, once I'm done highlighting everything that I think is semi-important, and also just reading through my notes is important, now I can move on to making cue cards. So these are actually the cue cards back from like 2019, and this is the set that I made. I did have colored cue cards, but they're not actually like color coordinated or anything. I just thought it would look cute, like having different colors and stuff. So when it comes to cue cards, writing it in the most concise and quick way that you can, abbreviating it as much as you can, will be the key to saving time. Because these can take a long time if you want them to. If you're writing full sentences and everything, no. I'm writing bullet points, using arrows, never using the words like the or as or like and. We're not doing that. We're using plus signs, we're using arrows, we're using arrow up for increase, arrow down, decrease. This causes this. This arrow, this. Just be more concise, be smarter. And as long as you understand it, who cares? So for osmotic dehydration, it looks so ugly. Don't at me for my writing. It literally says those things that I just said. Point 1, fluid/solute loss in proportional numbers. Number sign, literally, number sign. Normal osmolarity. Other point, caused by diuretics, GI, losses, hemorrhage. Other point, use IV fluids, NS, RL. That is all. That took about like not even a minute to write on the card. And now that you got your pack of cue cards, you throw your notes out of the way, okay? Now this is all you're gonna be studying for your quiz. What I would do, I would just, after I'm done writing them, I literally just start going over each and every one of them as soon as I finish writing them most of the time, or within that same day, because the information is still fresh in your mind. You kind of want to just keep drilling it as much as you can so that it stays in your long-term memory, okay? Yeah, so I would literally just read these in my room or wherever I am to myself out loud. Most of the time I'd say isotonic dehydration. So solutes in water, blah, blah, all this stuff. Causes, diuretics, GI losses, treatment, NS, ringers. Like, you know what I mean? Like I would just say it out loud. Sometimes you might look a little crazy, but who cares? You're gonna be acing this test. So the cue cards part, I can usually get done in one evening and memorize. Obviously that's just for me, something else might work for you, so take as much time as you need personally. The time consuming part really is the researching, the writing the notes, getting this all done, going through the textbook, all that. But the reason that this really works, at least for me, is that by the time you get to memorizing these cue cards, you've already gone over this information so many times. By the time you get to the point where you're memorizing the cue cards, you have already read this information in the textbook. You have written notes in your own words from the textbook. You are rereading the physical copy in your own words, right? So that's the third time you're introduced to this information. And then you're writing them again on a smaller cue card in smaller, more concise terms. So a fourth time that you're being reintroduced to this information, right? Or not introduced, but exposed to this information. So you've already crossed paths with this information at least 4 times, and now you're just conceptualizing it into a cue card. So this is all that you need to memorize about this topic, like just these 2 lines, right? Or sometimes it's not even that, like sometimes I just be like, boom, right? Like ascites, boom. Obviously there's way more information than 2 lines on a cue card, right? On a topic, of course, but we're talking about how to pass as a procrastinator, right? And that's what I'm giving you. And now after you've gone over all of that information, and if you still don't understand certain things, what I would recommend is to watch this guy on YouTube for A&P specifically. It's the Crash Course guy. I think his name is like, what's his name? Let me see. His name's Hank, okay? He's a genius. He goes over every single concept you can think of, very in detail, more than you need to know probably for your exam, but it's always worth watching if you're a little bit confused on a topic, okay? Garbage Man is here, throwing out our stuff. What's his name again? Hines? But if Hank is giving you way too much information, you feel overloaded, try not to let it stress you out. Only try and focus on the things, oh my gosh, why is it not focusing? If Hank tries to stress you out by throwing you too much information, you're like, I'm overwhelmed, what is this? It's okay. Try not to let it stress you out. Try and just focus on those points that the prof wants you to know to be able to pass tests. Also, something that I do when I'm watching any educational video, a lot of people laugh at me for it, but I don't know, I can just like, I can actually consume it this way. I really like watching my videos in 2 times, like just double time. So it turns a 20-minute video into a 10-minute video. Why wouldn't you want to do that? Like, we're trying to save time here, right? We're procrastinating. We don't have a lot of time yet. We're on a crunch. It's time to go. If you try it and you can't understand what they're saying, you're like hearing it mumbo jumbo, it's okay. You can just watch it in regular. But I would recommend at least like 1.5 or something. Cause like like people talk like this. So slow, so slow. I don't know. Obviously, I'll leave the crash course information in the link below. You can just look up in the search bar, crash course, anatomy physiology, or respiratory system, or whatever system that you are focusing on. Yeah, and he'll definitely have it. He has everything on there. Now, after all those steps, you're ready for your test and move on to the next. And something I would recommend is actually keeping these. Don't throw these out. Keep your notes. Keep your cue cards, because this is what I relied on heavily during midterm and final season. I did not even touch my textbook. I didn't go back to my binder. I only went back to these. And the sheets were only to like quickly skim so that I could kind of get in my head before I start going through the cue cards again. You know what I mean? So it's not just like, oh shoot, what was that from 9 weeks ago, you know? And if you don't really like paper copies, you can just keep it on your laptop and just work from your Google Docs, Word docs, whatever the heck you are working from. I love a physical copy because I feel like it's right in front of my face. I can disconnect, I can turn my phone off, I can move my laptop out of the way and close everything, and it's just me and this paper, and I feel like I just consume it and just can breathe it a lot better, in my opinion. Because I feel like when I'm on my MacBook and I'm reading through my notes, I even get notifications on there. Even if I put my stuff on D&D, I end up on freaking Amazon somehow, or on a different YouTube channel watching a story time. Like, it's just the way things go. We just get distracted. I am, again, a procrastinator, so I will find any way to not focus on what I'm doing, okay? I don't really have anything else for you guys. I just kind of want to show you like all the cue cards that I have here. Like, it's a ridiculous pile of so many freaking cue cards. And then again, like I had, these binders are completely full for each semester. One, another one. And I threw out a lot of stuff after I graduated. All the unnecessary sheets, I threw out. So I have 3 of these binders, and I have all the written versions on my Google Docs as well. So in case I wanted to throw all this out, I still have a digital copy. But again, like I said, I love physical copies. But I think that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for being here with me. Again, I hope this helped you in some way. Hope you can relate. I hope that you freaking ace your next quizzes, midterms, finals, everything related to A&P. If you have any questions or need any more resources, let me know in the comment section below, and I will hunt for those resources for you guys, okay? But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you next time.